The first of the vigils being held around the country tonight for murdered British backpacker Grace Millane has begun in Auckland at St Patricks Cathedral Square. Shortly before it started, her family released a statement that thanked New Zealanders for an outpouring of love, messages and compassion. Her father David says in some small way Grace will forever be a Kiwi. He and Grace's uncle Martin will return to the UK this weekend with her body. Our reporter Alex Perrottet is at the St Patricks Square in Auckland and joins us now via live view. Hi Alex.
Hi Lisa, I'm here at St Patricks Cathedral. I'm just speaking in a low voice because I'm quite close to the action here. You'll see footage as our cameraman Nick Munro is going to find his way towards us. Speaking on the podium at the moment is a white ribbon ambassador, Anna Campbell, who we spoke to just after 5, who spoke very, very clearly about not just this issue with Grace Millane and the incident about her death, but also about the wider issue about violence, particularly against women. In those shots that you may have seen if you are watching, there's probably, I'm guessing, about 300 or 400 people here, and of course they will move on in a candlelit procession on to Federal Street around the corner. Once this is done, the Mayor Phil Goff is standing by soon to talk to people as well as other members. You can tell from some of the police that are around as well. I found Ashok, who's a member of the community here. He's actually come all the way in from Henderson, and I want to ask him why Ashok have you come? What's moved you to come here today?
Yeah, well, I think it's about time violence stopped against women, young girls, babies. You know, it's just going on too much. And I think it's an indictment on New Zealand. You know, we've allowed this to happen. I think the courts and the judges have got to put these people away. You know, none of those 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, they should be put away. You know, there's just gone beyond a joke now.
And so you're talking about harsher penalties for people who are found guilty against these sorts of...
Make it a true deterrent. You know, it's putting somebody away for 1 or 2 years, or we'll give them benefit of the doubt. It's not good enough anymore.
Sure, and of course we're not talking anything in terms of the legal implications of this case. Of course, we don't want to prejudice anything. Phil Goff is just taking to the podium to address people here. Do you have boys in your family, Ashok?
Yeah, I've got 3 boys.
And what's your message to them?
Message to them is respect everybody, and especially women. You know, going on buses, you know, you stand up for women or whatever, or elderly people, and hopefully it's got through to them. They're all in their 20s and 30s now, but we were brought up that way by my parents, who came from India many years ago, and you know, just respect. You know, it's violence has just gone beyond a joke now. You know, and I think it's hurting males who are there, trying to respect women and to hear other people doing these things, you know.
And finally, on behalf of all the members of the public who are here this evening, Ashok, what would you say on behalf of New Zealanders to the Millane family who are heading home on the weekend?
Oh, it's just so sorry, you know. I can't imagine any parents having to go through this, and especially somebody so young or whatever the age, wanting to travel the world, pass as a degree, you know, want to do an overseas, you know, the old OE. And even though I've only got sons, when they go overseas, even I'm sort of scared, you know, but would have loved to have had a daughter, but you can imagine, you know, the grief this family is going through. And nobody should go through that, you know, the violence in New Zealand. The women that have died even in the last week, 3, 4, our own people.
Yes.
You know, what's society coming to, you know.
That's right, and that's what Anna Campbell was just alluding to in her speech, just saying that, you know, since this incident a week ago, we've had more deaths here of New Zealanders who have died at the hands of men. Ashok, thank you for your time and for your views. And Ashok was mentioning the grief that was outpoured. You can see that here. It's a very, very solemn mood, Lisa, with the people. As I said, Scott Beard, who's been so front and centre of this case, there is just standing nearby amongst other uniformed policemen, as you know, just there in the middle of the public, taking part in this. Mayor Phil Goff addressing the crowd. There'll also be a musical tribute, and then the people who have been coming forward to lay flowers at the base of the podium there where the candles are and flowers are. People were coming forward before this all started just to pay their respects. I imagine they'll do that again at the end, pick up candles and of course make their way towards Federal Street, just around the corner for the vigil that's to start there at 7 p.m. Of course, more vigils to come right across the country as we mark this death, and of course it's captured everyone's imaginations and the attention of so many people, but at the same time, in a week where there's a report out about domestic violence, that too has been front and centre as people in New Zealand have a good think about the domestic violence statistics in this country and what really should be done about it. Back to you, Lisa.
Thanks, Alex. And as you mentioned, we saw there Detective Inspector Scott Beard standing there in the crowd in a suit there. He was mentioned by the Millane family in the statement. They said he was the driving force of the investigation and a true police professional. They also mentioned one other officer, a Greg Brand, who they said was the person behind the scenes helping with that inquiry.